Hey, everybody. Oh, Jesus, it's cold out here.
Would you move?
Yeah, I got thrown out.
That I believe. That makes more sense.
You,
I don't know what
you,
that person behind you is doing.
you.
Guys, if you can't watch this, Stuart's on a mountaintop.
As I told you, that's me in my dreams.
Yeah.
We were talking about bucket lists, things that we'd either have done that were on our list that we checked off, or things that we would still like to do. And I mean, this just kind of opens the canvas all the way for bucket lists. But I mean, I'm afraid of heights, but for some reason, I always wanted to climb a mountain. Now, it doesn't have to be Mount Everest, but I mean, even go down to the local park that's got an incline and make it up to the top of it.
Right. I know a couple hills around here you could walk up maybe and just, pretend.
In Florida, they were called bridges.
Yeah. I found we found some pretty good hiking in here in Texas. Not Mount Everest hiking, but just a couple hours from now, down at Dinosaur Valley, down at Waco, there's some good hiking trails that get up there. I've got some pictures. I mean, we're up,
Yeah, but by Mount Everest or Mount McKinley standards,
obviously
they're little road bumps. Really?
No, of course. Even by the Smoky Mountains, they're little road bumps, but they're pretty. I mean, you fall down, you're not getting up. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people that probably the things that are top on their bucket list are places to travel. Like to go to Tahiti, go to I don't know, Scandinavia. We've always talked about Scandinavia and Ireland and Italy and all. Yeah. I've been to Italy, haven't been to Ireland yet. One thing I would tell people if they want to travel to put on their bucket list is the Greek Isles, because the Greek islands, especially to do it by cruise. Get on a cruise ship that goes through Santorini and Mykonos and Rhodes. And lots of ancient history there, and the Greek islands are a really neat place to visit.
That's what I think is cool. Some of those and I'm not talking like historic places. I'm just talking about periods of time in history. There are some really cool historic things like in the United States that I think are really cool that I'd like to go see. But I'm talking about those ancient periods. I mean, we just don't.
Yeah.
We can't even fathom,
when we talk about history in America, I mean, our history goes back basically 250 years.
Not that old.
It's not that old. You go to places like Italy and you walk down these piazzas that were made out of stone walkways that are centuries old. And those walkways were all put in by hand, and they're still there.
They're still there.
Yeah, and here in America, we're still resurfacing roads and sidewalks that were only put in about 5 or 10 years ago.
Right. You want to go stand where Julius Caesar got stabbed in the back. You want to go, see where, potentially the Ark of the Covenant could be, and all these different places across the world. That is definitely more bucket list stuff for sure.
Yeah. Another one that really stands out in my head is Pompeii. Because that was wiped out overnight, but there are artifacts there that are in stone that are amazing to see.
I don't know what happened. I zoned out. Glitch in the matrix.
Yeah, I think you just left and jumped on the couch momentarily.
Yeah, no, it's been internet issues all day. It's just part of the gig.
So I said climb a mountain or something. Is there a challenge or something you'd like to do?
Well, I'm working on one of them right now. I've got it this fall. There's a half marathon I'm going to do. I've never done a full and I've never done a half, shockingly, in my life. I've signed up for halves, and then due to illness or life, I've had to bounce out. So I'm going to work on that half marathon. That'll be coming up
here in Dallas.
Yeah. It's technically Dallas. We'll just say Dallas. I'll be blowing up social media about it as it gets closer. doing that, yeah, that's one. That's one of the biggest ones. I mean, yeah, mountains and stuff would be great. I'm going to bring it down to my realistic level, so that I can try to accomplish it. That's a big one for me for sure.
Well, after I gave up my running due to blowing out a knee and all, I took up cycling, and I always wanted to cycle America, or
Yeah.
or cycle. I mean, off-road cycling is pretty tough stuff. Road cycling is a lot easier. But they say cycling or hiking through the Appalachian Trail is also supposed to be a really cool thing to do.
That was another one that I was going to do right out of high school. We were going to do the Appalachian Trail, me and a group of people. One of our teachers actually suggested it, and we started researching it, and then we were just dumb young and didn't do it. But that would be a really cool one. It's not easy.
Yeah.
Can be dangerous at times, but
That's kind of what bucket list items are, not necessarily things that are easy. There are things that would be challenging or just pretty cool to do, or you've seen it or read about it or saw it in a movie and you said, yeah, I like that, like swimming with the sharks. No, thank you. Maybe swimming with
time you go in the ocean, you swim with a shark. So
yeah, or if you go to the Bahamas, sometimes you could take a little side trip and swim with the rays.
Yeah, that's fun. I've done something like that,
and that might be cool. I have not done it, but Lauren has swum with the dolphins. That's also pretty cool. Interacting with animals.
Yeah, something you can't do on a regular basis.
Yeah.
I did one of my bucket list things, and that was skydiving. Jumping out of it. Yeah, I did that I just did a podcast about it. You guys can check it out, Life of an Average Joe. Yeah, I was skydiving about 10 years ago, maybe, I think. We did it twice. So pretty cool.
They opened a door and you actually jumped out of an airplane.
One of the most amazing experience. I won't do it now. I've got too much to lose. But I mean, maybe when Luke's older, in his 20s,
You did it when you were a wild and crazy guy.
Yeah, 10 years ago, I was wild. Yeah, I did it. It was crazy because the adrenaline, I don't think anybody, unless you've done it, I don't think anybody realizes that adrenaline that takes over. Like, it didn't dawn on me, even when I was strapped to this dude, because the first time you got to go with somebody, and I've got this big dude behind me and I'm sitting there like a little baby, and when I was strapped, it didn't dawn on me. And even when we were up in this airplane, it still didn't dawn on me until the door opens. And you're just sitting there and you could feel the wind. And I was at the back of the plane. I was one of the last ones. So I'm watching these people just go, and we get up there, and thank God he's there, because your body just naturally is like, I'm not doing it. Like, your body's like, yeah, I'm good.
What was I thinking?
Right. And he's like, here we go. Now, in my mind, when I did it, I thought I jumped and just went straight like I was supposed to. In the video, because I got it on video, I'd go upside down. Like, we're upside down going, and then we go straight. It's crazy. It was one of the coolest things I've ever done, honestly.
So the first time you did it, obviously, your heart's got to be pounding out of your chest and all.
Yeah.
Then when you finished doing this, you said, oh, that was pretty cool. I think I'll do it again.
Yeah, we didn't do it now. The same day, I did the same day. We had made it kind of like a ritual, and I did it like the following year. But that day they tried to get us to go back up. Dude, they were doing like $20. We could go jump again. But I was already late for work, so I didn't do it. But it was amazing. The only thing I didn't like both times was when the chute pulled, because you're strapped, and I'm sure it feels that way for women, but for men, this thing's in between your legs. When you pull it, it lifts up. So I was just like, whoa, hey, didn't feel good down there. But after that, you're gliding down and you're hanging, and the landing was a piece of cake. You just lift your legs up and slide on your butt. It was a good time. Yeah.
I won't even jump off the couch.
Yeah, I gotta post. I posted some pictures of it when I did the podcast. I'll post some video too, but I just showed it to Luke because he didn't believe me. I was like, "Oh yeah." So I put the DVD in, and he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna do that." And I'm like, "Oh."
Yeah, give it a little bit. I mean, you always see these 90-year-olds, even 100 people that are 100 years old, that it's been on their bucket list, and so they're
Yeah,
going out in a blaze of glory.
that's like, some people want. I got friends that went to go scuba diving, deep sea and all that. I'm good on that. I don't need to mess around with the ocean like that. There's things down there that we don't need to deal with. So I'm out. But I get it.
Well, but just like you said, when you went skydiving, you went on a controlled dive. You went in tandem with somebody else. You can go scuba diving or snorkeling in reefs and see beautiful underwater life and all if you go on a boat that does that.
But you can't. Here's the thing. There's only so much you control. Even with the skydiving, our chute couldn't open. We'd be dead. I wouldn't be here now. But you could control when you go scuba diving. You can't control what animals are going to be there. You can assume that this is a pretty mellow area and you're only going to see this, but you don't know if some shark's just pissed and is like, you know what?
Yeah,
I'm coming in. Or like we've heard about, it's a true story where two people are scuba diving, they get up and the boat's gone. And now they're in the middle of the ocean, like, great.
No, I've gone. I haven't gone snorkeling, scuba diving. I've gone snorkeling and all, and there isn't anything under the water that can be of any harm to you.
Sure. You've got these little like sea urchins that they tell you, oh, it's beautiful, but don't touch them because they'll kill you. And I'm like, great, thank you.
Right. That's where I want to. Hey, look, you can go to a zoo and get too close to the tigers. Yeah, that's why.
Look, if I want to see that up close and personal, I'll turn on the National Geographic documentary on my big TV, and it looks beautiful and it's amazing.
Or if you really want to hang out with some wildlife and everything, go to a petting zoo.
Right. Hey, some of those goats and chickens, man, they're brutal. Stop pecking at you, man. I'm telling you. One of the other things, you got other bucket list stuff too. It might not be on a level such as mountain climbing or scuba diving, but you got music. Are there any? Think about it, and I mean alive now, not ones we wish we could have saw that are dead, but alive now. Is there any band or artist that you're like, you know what? If I only go to one more concert, this is it?
I have always been a follower and a lover of the Who, and I always wanted to see the Who in concert.
Yeah.
People say that a concert with Bruce Springsteen is beyond belief, that this guy sometimes plays for 3 to 4 hours straight, no intermissions.
I've heard that.
Nonstop. Some of those bands. I mean, you just recently went to see Guns N' Roses. They've been around for a long time and all. And so has that been one of the bands that's been on your bucket list?
Yeah, they've been my favorite since I was in probably about 7th, 8th grade. They've been one of my favorite bands of all time, and still are. I may not listen to them every day, but they're in that top echelon of music. I missed out on 8th grade. I didn't get to go. I came down with a really severely bad case of the flu, literally the night before the concert, and I didn't get to go. I had to get my ticket away. We had third row.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
third row, Palace of Auburn Hills. So I couldn't go. I got to see them later when Axl had his new band, but it wasn't the same. So this last one here at American Airlines Center was the original, minus I think one dude. And it was a 3-hour jam, nonstop, no intermission, epic. Like, I don't ever have to see them again. Like, I'm good. Like, number one, it's expensive, but I don't ever. So I crossed them off. Like, success. The next one will be Foo Fighters, who I've never got to see, who I've always liked ever since Dave Grohl was in Nirvana. I've always missed them. Cross paths, never been able. Luke and I jam out to them all the time. finally, knock on wood, in August, I'm going to Colorado to see the Foo Fighters. Got my tickets a couple months ago. Going to make a little short 3-day trip, concert, visit some friends, fly back to Dallas. Fingers crossed, as long as there's not some pandemic or World War III, you know.
I've got a t-shirt, one of my favorite t-shirts. It says on it, "I may be old, but I got to see some of the cool bands."
That's true.
You know, and it is true. I've seen the Smashing Pumpkins,
Nice.
got to see the Rolling Stones in the Orange Bowl in Florida. The Dave Matthews Band, he puts on an incredible show. I followed a lot of solo artists and everything. John Mellencamp, Bonnie Raitt. Been lucky that Lauren and I have been in the right place at the right time to see some of these groups and all. But there's you know, are there other groups that you want to see?
Yeah, there are. I've got several other groups that I would like to see. I would say that possibly, you know, well, Cody Jinks, he's not old, you know, by any means, but he's another guy that I'd like to go see in concert, from Fort Worth. Great country music, but he's also a rock dude. I would like to see him, but he's not an old, like, so I have the opportunity. Right. I've seen Smashing Pumpkins before. That would be cool. You know what, though? I think, honestly, I'm kind of winding down on that as far as the music goes.
Well, you know, and also it has almost gotten financially prohibitive to see the bands that you really want to see, because if they're in these large venues, the ticket pricing is just way out of whack.
Oh, well, forget the tickets. Even if you can find affordable tickets,
right,
getting to the show.
One group that I always wanted to see and never did was Bob Marley and the Wailers. Yeah. I think that would have been a great concert to see. I mean, I got the recording of Woodstock, and I mean, just to go back and look at the people that took that stage and all, I would love to go see any one of them, you know, if they're still around.
Well, that's, yeah, for sure. I mean, some of those artists that aren't around anymore, or some of those classics, but like you said, I've been blessed. I've been super blessed and been able to knock down a lot of concerts. So I feel like until little man is older and he wants to go, look, right, if he was older now, he'd be coming to Foo Fighters with me for sure. Yeah.
Well, you know, there's still groups like, you know, Motown groups, the Four Tops and the Temptations. They've changed out some of their members and everything, but still some of those groups, Earth, Wind and Fire, Chicago is amazing in concert.
I've heard that, and I'm not even a big Chicago fan, but I've heard that, you know.
Yeah, and you know, I'm not a huge country and western fan, but I'd love to see Kenny Chesney in concert.
Yeah, there's very few. Willie Nelson's on my list. You know, he just played in Frisco a couple months ago, back in October. You know, Willie Nelson was at the FC Dallas Toyota Stadium, and I missed that. But he's on my list. I'm not the biggest country guy in the world. Like I said, I've got about a handful of artists, but what about places to travel?
Yeah, you know, I mean, I was fortunate and I've seen most of America. Awesome. Because and mostly it was through Young Eyes, because we used to take road trips every summer with my family, pack up the station wagon and travel around the country. And if there's, especially if people are getting to be seniors or whatever, the national park system in America, some incredible parks to see. I mean, you know, people that can't travel overseas and everything, I would say to see Yellowstone, you know, the Grand Canyon. Yeah. We have yet to go to Utah, and there are some phenomenal national parks in Utah to see, but almost every state has some kind of a national park, and it's worth it to go see some of those. Overseas, man, the map is wide open. You know, we already said places like Ireland and the Greek islands and Italy and all, but I would like to see some of South America, see some of Asia. Again, I had an all expenses paid trip there once back in the late 60s, courtesy of the U.S. government. Yeah. But yeah. There's
Different tour though, man.
yes, yeah, and it really wasn't a vacation by choice.
No, no, not so much, my friend.
But ever thoughts of going on an African safari?
No. So yes, thoughts, but again, and I think it would be a beautiful, amazing thing. Number one, those animals can be where they want to be.
Yeah.
I don't want to get bit by some mosquito, come back with some West Nile COVID hybrid zombie apocalyptic virus that I'm going to spread to the earth. And here we are, quarantine for real this time. So I'm going to 86 that place.
Yeah. You can pick up something like that at a concert now.
Yeah, or dating. But but the thing is, like, if I like my place is like I want to hit up Germany. This is going to be every place I want to go for the most part is cold. Yeah. I don't think I'll be going anywhere now, and it'll probably get canceled for me to say this, but I wouldn't mind going to Russia. I got to be honest with you. I know that sounds crazy. I'd rather go to Russia.
I mean, old Russia, to go to St. Petersburg and see the artwork and architecture.
I mean, I'd rather go to Russia than China right now, and then, obviously Switzerland, Sweden, we've done that stuff. One of the other places though, too, is I want to go to Alaska one day, somehow, some way, some of those places,
Yeah. And
Germany.
And, it's funny because, like you said, we both have a tendency to pick more of the cold climates rather than saying, "Oh, I want to go to Tahiti."
Yeah, I don't care about Tahiti at all.
or so. Now I would love to get on a schooner that goes around the Cape Horn, goes around the South America or Southern Africa.
That would
or
be
something.
Cool.
That would be fun to go on that kind of a cruising ship, a yacht, rather than these 3,500 passenger cruise ships. And it'd be fun to be, where you actually get up in the morning, you help out on the ship.
Yeah. Well, look, I don't want to work on vacation. That's right.
Yeah. But anyway, it's good to have dreams, and it's also good to put it down on paper, and also that you have that list so you can go back and you can check these things off, like check off skydiving for you. And I'm going to get going because I got to try and make it to the top of that mountain before the sun sets.
Well, yeah. And you know what? Hey, there's a friend I don't know if you follow her on Soundwave, but Stoop on Soundwave, she put it on her list like 10 years ago that she wanted to go to Iceland. She just got back from Iceland a couple months ago. Like, she went, and I was like, that's amazing, dude. Like, good for you,
A lot of people like to go to Iceland to see the Northern Lights.
Yeah, I would go there for sure.
And I agree. I think Iceland would be a great place to go visit too.
You go get on that mountaintop.
Okay. I'm going to take off, try and get up there and conquer it. Then I can cross it off on my list. One thing I won't cross off my list is trash talk, because I'm going to come back again next week and see what we're going to talk about. All right.
Sounds.
All right. Make it a good one.